Good morning, Yankee Universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my co-host, Mr. TC Stills. We got a special episode for you today. So just check out the intro and we'll be right back.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's okay. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yankee Universe, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome back to, like I said, another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. I am your guy Hector, joined by my co-host TC Stills. We got a special episode for you today. We aren't medical experts to, any degree. I know I worked as an EMT for years, but that's about it. I could give you a Band-Aid and put you in an ambulance and bring you to the hospital. But we got a special guest to take a deep dive on the Aaron Judge injury. Before we do that, let's do a little bit of the roll call. We got a few people in the building. Kenny Payne is in the building. Kenny Payne, good morning. He said, so tired of these Knicks talks. Let's talk basketball. Absolutely, Kenny. Jonathan is in the building. I love the usernames. That is the O1LS1Z2ADABX. How you doing? Pinstripe Chronicles, Uncle Tats is in the building. Manny Morales, a.k.a. Emmanuel, is in the building. Manny, I'm playing with you. But shout out to everybody who showed up this morning. If you guys can, please smack that like button. If you're watching this for the first time, hit the subscribe button as well. It does wonders for the algorithm and helps us out tremendously on the channel. But without further ado, let's bring up our special guest. Yes. Dr. Jesse Morse. Let's bring him up. Jesse, good morning, Doc. How you feeling, good sir?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Appreciate you, like I said, taking time this morning to have the conversation with us. Before we get into it, just let the chat know about your practice. Let them know about you and how you got started in this industry. Go ahead, Doc.
So I'm a family and then sports medicine trained physician. I now specialize in stem cells and regenerative medicine. I'm in Miami, where a lot of these guys train, and I see a fair amount of pros, more so NFL than MLB. But when I was training a couple of years ago, I was worked with the Blue Jays and the Phillies. I did a little stuff with the Marlins. So but now I'm all completely private practice and remove the politics from it and just treat patients.
Nice. That's awesome, Doc. That's awesome. So let's get right into the conversation. We got to talk about the big fella, number 99. I saw you yesterday on with one of our good friends, Dan Rorick, on the Yankees Avenue. If you guys haven't checked that episode out, please go ahead and check us out. But when it comes to Aaron Judge, number 99, I know you talked a little bit on with Dan, but let the people know, what's your prognosticus or what do you view from this injury? What's your thoughts on it, Doc?
Yeah, so this is not a common injury in baseball. We usually see this in the NFL. This could be a couple different things. They gave us some good information, but it lacks some specificity. The big toe is kind of like your thumb in that it's basically the main balance center for your foot, and it's really important to kind of when you balance with the big toe, you kind of pull with your toes as you run, and the joint, the MTP joint, which is the one that he injured, is the main culprit for that. So traditionally, when you kind of jam your foot down or hyperextend that MTP joint, you can kind of partially tear or injure the capsule or balloon around the bottom of that joint.
Okay.
Anybody who had this knows it's awful. This is an awful injury. Even top tier athletes like Judge expected to miss minimum of 2 to 3 weeks, up to 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how badly damaged that capsule is. It sounds like he had PRP into it. which is, depending on the potency, is quite painful. I'm a little surprised they didn't use something stronger like a stem cell line, as they're traditionally 3 times more potent. Sometimes that's a political decision. But in general, the goal is to reheal, stabilize, kind of re-strengthen that capsule, which is kind of like a balloon, so that when he plants and kind of rotates on his pitches or anything throws in the field, he doesn't have to worry about having pain. If he was playing in the NFL, he would probably wear a carbon fiber insert or something like that underneath his foot. And the other problem is he probably won't do it here because it's uncomfortable, and he's not going to want to run with it or do anything with it. So you really want to get him to the point where he doesn't have to depend on that. The other thing is that you don't want to send him back 50%, because he's going to re-injure it, and then you're going to lose him for the rest of the year. So you kind of, when you send him back, you have to make sure he's good. These are pretty notorious for lingering. You can get fluid in that capsule, and they're really trying to avoid surgery, which would probably shut them down for the year, or the majority of the year. So that's why they're probably taking it smart here. They didn't specify whether it was specifically turf toe or an injury to the ligament in front of it, kind of where they all attach. There's a lot of things going on in that small area. But if anybody's even jammed their toe, they know how painful this is. This is a whole new level of pain. There's a lot of nerves and really no fat, so it's a bad combination. But the good news is that he had an injection. The good news is that he was able to, he should be able to start healing over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I wouldn't be surprised if he got into a couple AAA games or wherever is convenient, just to see how he's feeling on it, if he can rotate on it, if he can run, if he can sprint. How does he feel in the outfield? Maybe they keep him DHing a little bit. Initially, it just really depends on how that foot is doing. We don't have specifics in terms of severity. This is likely either a decent grade 1. It's probably not a grade 2, because of the timing of what they're saying, how long they took him to put him on IL. If it was a bad grade 2, he would have been put on immediately. He would have looked like he got shot in the leg and he couldn't have walked. Grade 2s are bad. Usually they know. So that gives me a little bit of comfort to say, hey, it's probably not a worst case scenario. And maybe best case scenario, even though it doesn't sound ideal, 2 to 3 weeks. And once it calms down, he'll be all right. Would not be surprised if he has surgery in the off season to properly address this completely.
Yeah, you bring up that this is not a normal injury when it comes to baseball. You normally see this in football, and
Correct.
just give us your thought when it comes to football players, that they're a lot bigger. I know Aaron Judge, he's a statue of a man, but NFL players tend to be a lot more rounder, like myself, right? So when it comes to those type of players, what is the process for them while sitting at home trying to figure this out? What are their limitations, what they can do, what they can't do? What do you think Aaron Judge should just focus on while he's trying to recover from this?
So I'll give you 2 examples of guys who have had it over the past couple of years that are relatively well known. Devontae Adams had it when he was in the Green Bay. He missed 3, almost 4 games, to give you an idea of what we're talking about. And Antonio Gibson, the running back for the Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call him. He dealt with it off and on for 6 months. He trained all off season, felt like he was okay, and then heading in, I think it was 2 years ago, not last year, he ended up having surgery in June or July or something like that, much later than he expected, because I think he retweaked it. But a lot of these guys, they basically they feel like they can't push off because they don't have that explosiveness, and you kind of need that big toe for the explosiveness. So it's a little bit different in running as a running back or an NFL wide receiver, that you're trying to burst off the line and literally run past someone 20, 30 times a game. When you're baseball, obviously a little bit different, as long as he can kind of keep his feet on the ground while he's batting, and get maybe change his stance just a smidge so it doesn't affect that part of the toe. Outfield is a little bit of a different story. Obviously, this is kind of how he did it, likely with that funky play. That's a little bit trickier. he doesn't really know where he's going to have to be when the ball's hit, where proximity of field is, fences and whatnot. So that's where you get into a little bit more of an unknown, or if you're trying to slide and you happen to catch your foot in a funny way on the bag or something like that.
Go ahead, TC. I'll let you ask the next question. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah. So you mentioned surgery. So if he has surgery, how long would he be out? Would he be ready for the following season? And what does that consist of? What are they doing as far as surgery goes?
Yeah, so this is usually left for the foot and ankle specialists, ortho foot and ankle. I treat these non-surgically with stem cells, but often guys end up having it's essentially the bottom of the balloon, kind of where the redness is on this diagram. They would go in, remove some of the debris, kind of debride some of the injured tissue, and they may need to kind of if the plantar plate, we call it, is injured, then they might have to address that. They may have to put in some hardware, but usually these most of the time will resolve in about 3 months, depending on what they had to do. But yeah, I mean, if it ends up becoming to that point, they want to do it sooner than later. You don't want to wait until friggin' January to do this. That would be silly. That's kind of what happened to Tatis last year. He waited way too long, and it just completely derailed his season.
That's a good point right there. You brought up different type of treatments as well. You said Judge got, I think you said like a PP or something type of shot, but you said you normally would have treated it with stem cells. Can you just tell the people in the chat and the people watching the difference for both treatments and why you prefer one over the other?
Sure. So PRP stands for platelet-rich plasma. It's where you take blood out of the arm, you spin it down, you remove the red blood cells, you really enhance the growth factors coming out of the platelets, and then you re-inject them into the joint. Been around for 20, almost 30 years now. Pretty inflammatory. It causes a lot of pain. It's like the most painful thing that I do, but not the strongest. It doesn't have any true stem cells in it or any growth factors to the point where you're going to be able to dramatically improve quality of tissue if it's a moderate to severe injury. Most of the pros don't want to use this, my pros including, because it's painful and they can't really do a whole lot for about 2 weeks or so. But a lot of old school docs, a lot of ortho docs, a lot of team docs, that's all they know and that's all they're comfortable using. What I do is kind of a niche and a little bit unknown. I use a lot of stuff that most people don't know of or don't use. Unfortunately, it's not covered by insurance, so that's part of it. And traditionally, surgeons want to cut. That's what they do. So they think, hey, I can do this, and if it doesn't work, I can do that. I was actually just speaking at one of the big national conferences this past weekend in Vegas on stem cells. And the field is just moving, significantly. There's a bunch of different types of products we can use. We can use adipose from your fat that has fantastic stem cells in it. We can use bone marrow from your hip, basically. And then we have some that are not from you, amniotic tissue and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of different avenues that you could have chose. Some of them are not really to be spoken of, so to speak, but exist. And a lot of the times I wouldn't be surprised if they did use some of this. They just can't talk about it.
Right. Is there a specific I know you got into like the differences or whatever, but you would rather treat it with stem cells, right?
Correct.
I know you talked about the inflammation from the PRP shot, but is there another reason why you prefer the stem cell? Is it just an easier process? You don't have to cut nobody open, or
so this is where it gets tricky, because this is all experience based. If you don't use this regularly, you're not comfortable with it, you don't know what you can and can't do with it. It's about volume as an injection technique. There's 2 lines of stem cell, to make it easy, we'll call it stem cell. And one, the 2 from you, adipose and bone marrow, they're very inflammatory. They create a lot of inflammation before they start healing, but they have millions of growth factors. They have a lot of different types of what we call stem cells or signaling cells, but they work. It's just a delayed recovery period. The pros that I see usually want to be on the field in 3, 4, 5 days. They don't want to shut it down really at all if they can help it. So they choose a lot of the anti-inflammatory or non ones from you, basically, that are just as potent, if not more potent, but they do not cause inflammation. They work immediately, like a huge ibuprofen, but it's actually helping to regenerate the tissue and restabilize those ligaments and tendons. And I've had guys, back in the field in a couple of days, not with turf toe, but with some other injuries, significantly more expensive. I mean, his procedure would probably cost $30K or $25K, but in the grand scheme of who he is and what he does, it's kind of dropping the bucket. But for these guys, it's about timing. Even if it's 5 games, I mean, that may be the difference between wild card and making the playoffs or not. So it gets tricky. But there's a lot of the classic guys that are run by teams that their team docs don't use a lot of these products, or at least don't talk about using them. So it gets tricky to find out like actually what they did do or didn't do. But if he did just do PRP, he's probably going to need another one.
Okay. I know when you was on with Dan yesterday, you talked best case scenario, 3 weeks on a return. Can you just give us Yankee fans a worst case scenario situation when it comes to Aaron Judge, just so we can have both options and weigh it out, and have maybe an early vodka and tonic, while talking about this. Go ahead, Doc.
I mean, again, best case scenario is probably end of June. Maybe they hold them out to the All-Star break. I think it's the second week of July this year. Worst case scenario, I mean, there's a couple worst realistic case would probably be late July. I mean, could there be a situation where he re-injures it? Yankees aren't doing the best, and they say, there's a lot of investment in him. We shut him down, have surgery, and just be done for the year. That would probably be worst case scenario. Is this something that's going to dramatically affect his career? No, maybe this season, but not his career.
Okay, so this is not like a shoulder injury that could sideline you or could hurt your career over the next 5 years. Okay,
thankfully not. Elbows and shoulders are game changer. Well, thoracic outlet basically is in the same category, but those ones can be nightmares, can be career altering. We just saw DeGrom go down, and but I mean, usually these are more annoying, definitely painful, can affect you for 3-4 months, but usually not career altering.
Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that he could have a carbon fiber insert but it's it's somewhat painful. Is there anything else that he could possibly wear, or they do, or wrap it, or cortisone shots, or some other alternative?
Yeah, good question. Cortisone, think of it as a temporary Band-Aid. You can inject it. It's going to be it's not really changing the quality of the tissue. And it's kind of tricking your mind into thinking that you don't have an injury, and you're going to try to kind of play on it because you don't have that reminder that, hey, I have, a painful joint in there. So you kind of push it. And if it's mild, then you may turn it into moderate once that steroid starts to wear off. That's coming back for a vengeance. So a lot of the guys are starting to kind of get away from cortisone and steroid injections because they're just kicking the can down the road. And these guys, their body is everything. If they don't have their body, they're not going to be on the field and not making these crazy paychecks. In terms of inserts and different things at a foot, traditionally we think of inserts, at least for carbon fiber, are really potent ones for more Liz Frank, which is kind of a midfoot sprain. Another thing that's more common in the NFL. But, there's probably a small little section that you could put in above the big toe. Some guys might change their cleats to be a little bit less flexible. So they have more of a solid base as opposed to a lot of movement. But they'll try to play with different things, but ideally they want to get it to the point where he doesn't have to favor it. He doesn't have to, change his gear or change his footwork or, change anything. To just get it to the point where he's good.
Good one. I know that, while looking you up, you're licensed with other professional leagues like the NBA, the NFL, MLB, NHL, if I'm not mistaken, as well. You normally deal with the teams and their medical staff. Do you know if there's a specific reason why the Yankees were very quiet and very low key when it comes to this, not really releasing much? Like literally, they still haven't released a real timeline on his return, and they've been quiet about him going to get an MRI? Can you give us like an inside view on
This is
aspects
just,
of that?
this is just how these guys work. They don't like to talk much about it. They're very hush hush. There's a lot of money involved, whether it's for the player, or for betting, or for whatever. A lot of there's only a couple people really making decisions here. Ahmad's probably running the ship, which is who I expect, and he's the main team doc. There's a couple other people involved, likely, but he's kind of the one that's running it. Aaron has a choice, obviously, but most of the time they defer to the team doc. Sometimes they will get a second or third opinion, and that's kind of what I serve as sometimes as an alternative opinion. For people that don't. NFL is a little bit different because they have a lot more players and they get a lot more injured per se, and they have a lot less time to recover. They're playing weekly as opposed to daily, but you can kind of zoom out with MLB. So those ones, a lot of the times they seek their own docs because they feel more comfortable one-on-one. And at the end of the day, at least this is kind of the way I look at it, the doctor works for the team and the owner, not the player.
That's a good point
it
right
sucks
there.
to say that, but unfortunately, it's kind of the way I look at it. And that's why I'm not, one of the reasons why I'm not on staff, because I want to practice the medicine the way I want to practice it, not the way a team owner wants to pay this X check or this bill or follow this political guideline.
Yeah, that's right. You took a Hippocratic oath to help people, not save the money from the owners, right?
Yeah.
I just got one question from the chat. If anybody has any questions for the doc while we still have him up here for the next few minutes, just let us know. But I got a guy in the chat by the name of the Big Japple, who he is an amateur baseball player himself, but he wanted to ask you this. He's like, please ask the doc if the Peptides BPC 157 or TB 500 may be useful or effective here. I have no idea what he said. Doc, will help me with this.
Okay. So peptides are naturally occurring compounds in the body. That BPC is the most famous one. It's from the gut, but you can isolate it, or it was isolated, and you can re-inject it into your abdomen or near the joint, and then it's like the super healer. TB 500 is a very similar one. The combined protocol is called the Wolverine protocol. Because of how quickly you heal better. TB 500 is a derivative of thymosin, which is a growth hormone variant, and it kind of controls your immune system and helps you kind of heal a bunch of different ways faster. The problem with these BPC in particular is that it is banned by WADA, so it's banned by all of the majority of around the different major leagues. So I know NFL specifically banned it. I'm assuming MLB has as well, because it does allow you to heal faster, which is kind of unfortunate that they're banning something of that caliber, because everyone has access to it. You just need a prescription. But yes, definitely, no question. If you're not getting screened, it is a safe and very effective option that's not super expensive, a couple $100 a month, depending on how much you're injecting. But yes, very effective, would definitely help him here. Obviously, I don't know if he's using it, and even if he was, I don't think he would say anything because of the black cloud that may come over him. But yes, peptides are very effective if you know what you're doing and you get a good source. But sometimes for certain players, unfortunately, they can't be used.
Okay. Now I just want to switch it up just a little bit. Are you a baseball fan yourself? Because having a conversation with you just now, it seems like you're into the sport. Are you a big baseball guy?
I am. I'm unfortunately from your arch enemy, Boston.
Oh, listen. It's all love here, right? I love a decent conversation. I actually went to Massachusetts last year. I had a good time in Salem, Massachusetts. Went out there for Halloween. It was really awesome. But one thing I got to say about Massachusetts and Boston is that they drive very nice over there. The drivers there, if you try to cross the street, they go out of their way to stop to let you cross. That's the one good thing about Boston. But it's all love over here, Doc. Just know that when it comes to you.
I'm a big baseball head. We had our run for several years. We've been hurting the past couple of years, but we always battle with you guys. But no, a huge baseball fan. I don't watch it as much as I follow it because it's just so time consuming. But I mean, I see there's a couple of former pros down here that are retired now that train a lot of young kids, teenagers, high school, that if they get an injury, they'll come in and see us. But no, so I'm a big fan of baseball. I've always been. I feel like it's part of the blood and part of the water up there in Massachusetts.
Nice.
Yeah.
TC, what last question before we let Doc go, because he has people he has to help out there. Go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
TC.
Yeah. Yeah. Just another question about Judge. So as he comes back, say 3 weeks go by, is he going to feel the lingering effects more as hitting, putting, planting all his weight on his back foot, which is, his loading leg, or would that be more hit the running in the outfield?
So if this was his front foot, he would probably have more issues because of the twisting. A lot of the guys, how they pivot. I don't know specifically how he bats. I'd have to watch video of it, but I think with his back foot, he's kind of be okay. Shifting his weight, to generate that power may be something he has trouble with initially, and that may what keeps him from really feeling comfortable initially. I would not be surprised to see him just DH for a week or two, because just the nature of a fly ball coming, and you really can't think about where your feet are. Running, you really want to be not reckless, but smart when you're tracking down a ball, and you don't have to worry about, okay, where is the wall? Where is this angle? Where is this divot in the, sand or dirt or whatever? And that's the variables that, and he's like, oh, I didn't read that ball properly. And now I got to kind of pick up my speed, and he's going to need to do that and dig in. And that's where that toe is really going to be involved. So it can affect him. It may affect him. I think that's kind of what he's going to have to work out over the next couple of weeks before he's fully cleared to say, yeah, it's there, but it's not as bothering me as much. And that's why I think realistically he's going to DH probably early on, just so that it can heal up without adding the element of having to run or field, I should say, more so than run. Right. But yeah, I best case scenario, he does great. He rehabs well. The PRP works its wonders, and he doesn't really worry about it the rest of the year, and he just continues to mash. Yeah. He may have some issues if it's lingering, or he can't move like he wants to, or he's just more of a liability in the outfield than he usually is. Then it gets, it's funny, it's just a toe, but it's unfortunately not just a toe.
Yeah, no, that's the weird thing about your body. You think you're the healthiest, or you think you're the most strongest in the world, but the one thing like your big toe could sideline you for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I never thought that I'll be doing a big toe watch while I started doing this podcast, but we're doing a big toe watch. Yeah. Doc, appreciate you taking time out this morning. Even though you're a Red Sox fan, you're still a friend of ours and a friend of the channel. We would love to have you on in the future, either if we get any updates on Aaron Judge or to talk about any other Yankees that are injured. Doc,
we have enough injuries.
Yeah, we definitely do. But we appreciate
comes with the nature of the territory.
Appreciate you for taking time out. And again, like I said, hope to have you on and wish you all the best of luck in the future, Doc.
All right, take care.
All right, peace. That was Dr. Jesse Morse giving us the inside scoop on the captain, number 99. That was a great conversation, TC.
It was, yeah, very, very knowledgeable, and I hope the chat learned something about their toes, and now they can go tell a friend.
Yeah, definitely. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the toes you just watched, right? But before we continue any more of the conversation, let's add on to the roll call. Yeah. Jerry Cadill is in the building. Big time, Jerry. How you doing? Anthony Medina's in the building. How you doing, Medina? I hope your father's good. Like always, guys, put the prayers in the chat for our brother Anthony Medina and his family. Mr. Steve Schumann, a.k.a. Stevie Pooh, is in the building. Steve, how you doing? NYY News, Ruben is in the building. Ruben, how you doing? 161 River Ave, Jason. What it do, Jason? We got another Jason, but this is Jason Lang. Jason Lang is in the building. How are you doing? Salute, salute, salute. Jacob Petruzzi is in the
Petruzzi, yes,
building. We
sir.
appreciate everybody for showing up. Eric Wallace, guys, if you guys can, smack that like button for your boys as we continue the conversation. We got our friend Mr. Blue Gold. KC Funtime is in the building. 19 Con Man, salute, salute, salute. Appreciate everybody for joining the conversation. The Big Japple, hopefully he was able to answer that
Good
for you.
question.
My guy, the Jap. Yeah, that was definitely a good question. Appreciate everybody who gave us some good questions to ask the doc while we had him here on the panel. TC, what's your take? Do you feel a little bit better after having a conversation with the doc about Aaron Judge's toe, bro?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, he did update us a lot better than the Yankees do, and
Oh,
he,
definitely.
told us the injury. He says it's a grade 1, which is better than a 2, which is 2 would probably put him out for most of the season. Um, but the fact that he said it's a lingering issue and he could have surgery in the off season, that's not
Yeah.
looking good for Aaron Judge, and he can't be himself in the outfield. I mean, he goes full 150% out there, and now he's going to probably pull up short and not want to, rob home runs because he feel
Hmm.
like he can't plant his foot. And I honestly think that he's going to make all these adjustments at the plate with that foot, and it's gonna affect him. And I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not too optimistic on this this prognosis.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah,
for me, like you said, he gave us more information than the Yankees did, right?
yeah,
The Yankees were very quiet. They were very mum's the word when it came to what's going on with Aaron Judge. I really appreciate the doc giving us his
hmm,
entire insight, talking about different treatments, talk about
right,
treatments that he would prefer, giving us best case and worst case scenario. But the one thing that I took away from that was the fact that he said that it's not an injury that will derail the rest of his career. It's not a shoulder
right,
injury. It's not a
right.
hip surgery. It's not a hip injury. It's not one of those injuries that in 5 years or 3 years he'll start feeling it and his career will
Hmm,
start going down, right? We got
yeah,
Sally in the chat. Sally, we appreciate you. Sally says, thanks for this. No, thank you for tuning into the conversation. Smack that like button and also smack the subscribe button. It's the first time seeing Sally in the chat. So, of course, Morning Brew
welcome.
family, welcome Sally to the chat. Welcome to the Brew Crew. But let's switch it up because it's weird because we go from a big toe watch, right? And we
Yeah,
go immediately to a apocalypse watch because in New York
yeah,
City, it's looking like apocalypse. It's looking like The
yeah.
Walking Dead. It's looking like the first episode of Van Helsing out there. But the Yankees postponed their game with the White Sox yesterday due to the Canadian wildfires that are going on right
Hmm,
now. If you're in New York City, like I'm in New York City, please stay in the house if you don't have to go out.
yeah.
I think the
Be safe.
last time I checked the weather index, it was at 185 when it comes to the clean air. It's at 177. So it's
Yeah,
going
it's getting
down as
better.
the day progresses. Hopefully, we can get the Yankee doubleheader because they have a doubleheader today.
Hmm,
One game's at 4 o'clock, the second game's at 7, 8 o'clock, however they got to schedule out.
hmm,
Hopefully, we get some baseball. If it's up to
yeah,
me, if I was in charge of Major League Baseball, I would have canceled today's games also, right? Because you got to worry about these players' health. You don't
right.
want nothing to pop up later on in the season, someone getting asthma or someone coming up with some type of respiratory illness because they played where they didn't have to play. I,
True.
I know there's a lot of conspiracy nuts that's going crazy on the TikToks and the Twitters. Just
Yeah,
be smart, get your information from reliable sources when it pertains to this. But like I said, if you're in New York City, please wear your mask and please be safe out there. TC, what's your
yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, hopefully you're being safe, Hector. You're staying inside, and I know you have some issues there. So yeah, definitely be safe. Yeah, it actually looks like Mars. I mean, that's what that's a
It
state.
really does. It really does
I
look like
saw, yeah,
Mars.
yeah, I saw some videos from people that were actually at the stadium or around the stadium, and yeah, and is it the Washington Bridge? You couldn't even see that, and it's just yeah, it's like
Yeah,
end
the
of the
G
world,
Dub.
end
I
of
live right
days.
next to the GWB, and I was on the
Yeah,
phone yesterday with Celso with Jigga, and he called. It was like 2 o'clock. He was like, "Is it that dark?" It was literally dark. Like at the
yeah,
apex of it yesterday, around 1:45, 2 o'clock. The clean air quality was at 400 or something like that, and
right.
it was literally, it felt like nighttime. I
Yeah,
literally felt like I was like, I know how Littlefoot and the rest of the dinosaurs felt when the asteroid hit the Earth.
yeah. Well, I mean, we deal with this on the West Coast with you know, we have wildfires as well, and
All
but
right,
it's
you don't gotta get
definitely no,
fancy
no, no.
now.
It
You don't
definitely
gotta
doesn't
get
look like
Mister.
this though.
You
It
don't gotta be
definitely.
Mister Know It All because you live on the West
I'm
Coast
not.
and you
I'm
deal
not.
with this stuff.
I'm just saying. I haven't seen it like that. I know we've seen fires, but it never has looked that bad in the sky. But hopefully, there's some wind. I'm seeing there's some wind currents coming through and blows all this out. And what are you shooting people?
I have no idea. This is the beginning of a Call of Duty zombie episode that's going on right now. But no, let's do a little shout out to the chat. Manny says, I blame the Blue Jays for this. Of
Yeah,
course, of
it
course, we
probably
got to
do.
blame the
Probably
Blue
have something
Jays.
to do with it.
I think
Alec
this is the
Manoa, maybe.
only time. I think this is probably one of the only times in life that you could reference a South Park scene when it's like blame Canada
Mm,
from the movie. But yeah, we're blaming Canada from this one, right? And I see a lot of people, especially in New York City, not wearing masks outside. Stop raw dogging life. Be
yeah.
safe out there, right? I know Manny, he works out in the hospitals and stuff. So Manny's being safe out there. But to all you people out there, just be safe. Wear a mask. You don't want to be sounding like that lady from those Newport commercials back in the day when you was growing up as a child. Hello, my name is Sandy. I've been smoking cigarettes since I was 13 years old. You don't
Uh,
want to sound like her. So just be
no.
smart and just wear your mask. Glad that they canceled the game yesterday,
Oh,
right? Because there was no way I could have suspect them or expect them to play with what we saw yesterday, right? You heard Aaron Boone said he came in around like 12 o'clock. And as soon as he stepped out around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and he saw it, he was like, yeah, this game needs to be canceled. But ultimately, they canceled the game. Doubleheader today. Do you think it was a good call by Major League Baseball TC? Because it wasn't only the Yankee game. It was the Yankees and the White Sox, and it was also the Phillies and the Detroit Tigers as well. Both games got canceled.
yeah. It looks like the games are canceled today.
Mm-hmm.
Just people are reporting that they're saying it's canceled. So
Wait,
uh,
the Yankee game?
today, yeah, we just they're just saying it's canceled. Jigga just
What?
put it up to
Hold
said the
on.
games are canceled. We'll have to look this
Hold
up.
on. Oh, breaking news. Breaking news. We got to look it up again. See if the Yankees are playing.
I didn't see
Hold
any
on.
reports, but
I haven't seen any reports either.
Jigga is saying it's canceled.
I'm checking on Twitter right now. I see one person said that they should cancel it. I haven't. All right, Brian Holtz. MLB has postponed today's game in Washington. As of
Okay,
now, the Yankees doubleheader remains on the schedule. So they
okay.
canceled the game with the Washington Nationals, according to Brian Holtz. And according to him, Major League Baseball, they still have the doubleheader on the schedule when it comes to the Yankees. And this was released 10 minutes ago on Twitter.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, if it's as bad as it was yesterday, there's no sense of playing. But if the wind is shifted and the blew a lot of the smoke out of the way, it's up to the I don't know who determines Major League Baseball or
Mm-hmm.
the state or I don't know who air quality control guy. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if it's bad, you can't play a sport in conditions like that, and you
No,
gotta
you
you gotta
definitely can't.
yeah you gotta think of the players and even the fans. The fans can be breathing this, and this is terrible. People could come hold the Yankees accountable for having a game like this, and the lingering effects. It's
And
not
I,
good.
and I and I think that's the big thing when it comes to it, right? Hold on, let me just fix this up real quick. When it comes down to it, I think the Yankees, they just want to make sure that fans are safe. They just want to make sure that the players are safe.
Right.
They just want to make sure that the staff and everybody is safe. Yes, there's money attached to it because it's hard to make up the games, especially now with the way that the schedules are set up. But it's all about keeping people safe. More the fans, than the players, in my opinion, right? Because the
Hmm.
players, they could be in the top shape of their life, good shape, they're
Right.
athletes and stuff like that. A lot of us fans that go to the stadium, we aren't in the best tip-top safe shape of our lives.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a roly-poly type of guy. We're not in the best shape. So glad that they were able to cancel it, because honestly, I can't see myself sitting inside of a stadium for about 2 to 3 hours having to deal with this. Yes, I will
No.
wear my mask, but on top of it, it'll be super uncomfortable after a while,
Right.
constantly smelling this, bro.
Yeah, it's not that mask isn't gonna, filter out everything. So you're
Hmm.
still smelling it and breathing, breathing in the bad air, and
Yeah.
it's just not a good look for Major League Baseball. Just, I mean, be safe, push the games out. If the White
Mm.
Sox have to make a return trip, so be it. I mean, if it rained, they would cancel the game. So just treat it as if it was a rain out. So yeah, just be safe.
Let's see. I had one more in the chat. Uncle Tat said Sally is an awesome Yankees fan, and I'm glad she found the best community on YouTube.
Mhm.
Oh, you and I both. If Sally is that great of a Yankee fan, Sally, welcome to the Brew Crew. Appreciate you for finding us. We are sitting at 631 subscribers. We got 30 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button.
Yeah.
Let's get up to 30 likes on the stream. So if you haven't hit that like button already, just smack the like button.
Yeah. What are you
So
doing? Come on.
we got to keep the conversation rolling, right? Because we talked
Yes.
about Aaron Judge, we talked about the Yankees postponing the game yesterday,
Hmm.
but we also got to talk about the corresponding moves that the Yankees did, because the Yankees, they called up somebody from the minor leagues. They ain't called up who we all wanted. They
Yeah.
called up Billy McKinney. He was added to the big league roster. Shout out to my friend Julian, a part of the Dugout Station. Billy McKinney is 28 years old and has played parts of 5 seasons in the major league with 28 career home runs, AAA stats this year: 9 home runs, 25 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and an 899 OPS. My guy Chris on Twitter also reported Aaron Boone said that the Yankees were considering either Frenchie Cordero or Estevan Florial for Aaron Judge's spot. But when they came down to it, they thought that Billy McKinney was the best choice. Now, we all have different mixed feelings when it comes to that. TC, how do you feel about Billy McKinney being called up? And what's your thoughts on Aaron Boone's statement about the call up?
Uh,
Yes,
so
I have that same laugh. I
yeah,
have that same evil laugh.
I gotta take a minute to even try to figure out how they think over there. Yeah, so McKinney, I mean, he had been playing pretty well. He's
Hmm.
somewhat of a hot streak. Well, was he on the 40 man? I'm not sure. Was he on the 40 man, or did they add him to the 40? Because I know they moved Ryan Weber off.
I think they
Um,
signed him. I think they signed him. I
so
think
he wasn't on the 40 man, right?
he wasn't. They signed him and added him to the 40-man
Okay,
roster. The
so
fact that they moved Weber to the IL, that wasn't the
60
10-day
day.
IL, they were able to add him to the 40-man roster.
Yeah, so this is another thing. It doesn't make any sense because I know Florio wasn't on the 40 man, so they could have
No.
did the same thing with him.
Hmm.
And the guy is showing out in AAA, Estevan Florio. So
He definitely is.
I don't know what he has to do. I mean, he must have did something to the organization. He has, I don't know. He looked at Brian Cashman's wife or something wrong. I
Did
don't know.
something. He was in spring training and he walked by the Yankees front office and he farted in front of them.
Yeah, he
That's
farted.
the only that's the
Yeah,
only thing I
gave him
could
the
think about.
stink eye. I don't know, but the guy has 12 home runs, 30 RBIs, hitting 317, 420 on base. I mean, I don't know. He's one of the best. He's probably the best outfielder we have as of right now.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
nobody else can play left. Bowers can't play left. Calhoun can't play left. I mean, we need an outfielder that can field first. Okay,
Hmm.
let's let's get let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Then let's look at his hitting. His hitting is there's nothing wrong with his hit. I mean, he's on fire. So I don't know where they're coming. What common sense or what's making these guys make these off the wall moves that just has us all scratching our heads. Eh, Honestly, they could have brought up Peraza. The guy's on fire as well, and they could have
I've
moved some pieces around. I don't
I
understand.
I've said this time and time again. Brian Cashman does not belong in the same sentence as common sense.
Hmm. Right.
Common sense and Brian Cashman, if you're going to use them, you got to have at least 10 words in the middle of it, right? Because this makes no sense. This is not us trying to shame Billy McKinney. This is not us trying to come after Billy McKinney. I have no ill will towards Billy McKinney whatsoever, right? I hardly even knew who the guy was before he signed with the Yankees, right? This is talking about the front office and the fact that the front office, time and time again, they have the obvious move right in front of their face, but they pivot because they think they're smarter. Now,
That's it.
Billy McKinney does he have more success than Esteban Florio at the major league level? Yes, he absolutely
A little
does.
bit.
Is Billy McKinney a seasoned, more experienced outfielder at the major league level than Esteban Florio? He absolutely is. But there's no way that you can deny what Esteban Florio is doing at AAA. All we are asking for as Yankee fans is the front office give this young kid who was at one point your number one top prospect overall,
Right.
just give him the opportunity. Just give him 2 to 3 weeks to see if he has it. And if he doesn't have it, just get rid of him. Cut bait. Send him back to the minors if you have to. I do not know what's the logic, or I do not know the reasoning why they haven't called this kid up, or the reason that they refuse to give him an opportunity at the major league level. Maybe there's something that the Yankees analytic department knows that we don't know. Maybe there's something that the coaching staff knows about Esteban Florio that we don't know. The only thing that I can point to, and I've referenced this several times while talking about Esteban Florio, only thing I can point to is the fact that Esteban Florio, he has a short fuse. Why? If you've seen him at the major league level, if the umpire calls a strike and he doesn't think it's a strike, he's going to let the umpire know how he feels. So maybe that rubs the Yankees front office and the coaching staff the wrong way because he has a little attitude issue or he has a little anger problem. But besides that, I have no idea what the front office, what they're thinking when they're evaluating these moves or when they're deciding which move to make and which move not to make.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. And I mean, you got to give the guy a shot. 2, 3 weeks, give him a shot, see what he can do.
That's
Then
all
you
we're
can
asking
DFA him and
for.
get rid of him. I mean, why haven't you got rid of him now? If you don't want to sign him or put him on the roster, just get rid of him. I mean, you're holding this kid back. I mean, he could be flourishing on another team, and I'm sure he'll come back and burn us and hit grand slams and walk offs and you know like everyone else. But yeah, it's a head scratcher.
Acevedo, Senor Acevedo. No, not Billy McKinney was one of our top prospects. Esteban Florio at one point was our number one overall prospect in the minor league system, right? Shout out to Acevedo. Appreciate you for joining the conversation. Yankee Kyle is in the building. Yankee Kyle, appreciate you always sharing us on your community tab. Yankee Kyle, I'll definitely add you as a moderator on the channel. Just give me a few. Hector, stop spreading that lie. What lie am I spreading? What Blue Gold? Let me know what lie am I spreading, because I've watched Esteban Florio every time he's been here at the major league level, and there's been times that Esteban Florio gets upset at the umpire, and you verbally hear how upset he is. If you're somebody that speaks Spanish and you listen to the broadcast while Esteban Florio gets upset, you know what he's saying. So my guy Blue Gold, let me know what lie am I spreading, big time.
And we forget he has speed as well. He could be a perfect leadoff man. I mean, that's what we need, athletic guys. I don't know. I don't think Billy McKinney has that much speed, but I don't know. I just wish they would give him a shot more than he had in the past.
When you look at all of his stats, right, he has improved with his batting average. He has improved when it comes to his walk rate and his on base percentage. He has improved when it comes to his OPS and his slugging. The only thing he hasn't improved is his strikeout rate. So maybe that's why the Yankees don't want to call him up, but just add him to a lineup that everybody else strikes out, right?
Exactly.
No, that's what I'm saying. If I agree with you, Blue Gold, I agree with you. So what? Paul O'Neill did it. I'm 100% on board with you. But if I'm thinking of any reason why the Yankees do not want to call him up, that's the only thing that I could point to. Everything else, he checks off every box. He checks off the speed. He checks off the power. He checks off the
player.
batting average. He checks off the fielding. He has all the tools you will want for a player to come up and help you at the major league level. So Blue Go, even if he is chippy, or even if he does have a chip on his shoulder, or even if he gets upset at the umpires, I'm all for it. I love that type of energy. I'm just trying to figure out why the Yankees in the front office refuse to give him a chance. And that's the only thing that I could point to and say that maybe that rubs the front office the wrong way. But if it's me, I'm calling him up because we need more of those fiery type of players on our bench. Personally, me.
Yeah. And attribute that to Shelly Duncan, another guy that they've turned around.
He's killing it. At the minor league level as the manager for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, Shelly Duncan is he's killing it down there while developing these young players. Shout out to Shelly Duncan. And I remember when he got called up in 2007 with the Yankees, and that was my senior year of high school. I was in love with Shelly Duncan, and I had a real good time rooting for Shelly Duncan in the 2007 Yankees.
Yeah, he was a spark plug.
He definitely was. Let's keep the conversation rolling. But like always, guys, please smack that like button, and if you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button as well. I'm going to bring up the next one because we got to talk about this. We got some good news, right? If we could talk about having good news, because we may have gotten some bad news when it comes to Aaron Judge, but Carlos Rodon, he was on the mound yesterday before everything got shut down, right? But Carlos Rodon, he was on the mound and he pitched about 20 to 30 pitches. He pitched to Oswald Cabrera, and I think he pitched to Jake Bowers as well. Yeah, so both left-handed hitters. Jake Bowers a lefty, Oswald's a switch hitter, you know what I mean? So he pitched to both a right-handed hitter and a left-handed hitter, 30 pitches. They said that he would go out there in the next 3 days and he would progressively get better before having any rehab assignments. What's your take on the Carlos Rodon news?
Oh yeah, I mean that's a good sign. I was a little leery about him being out there with the sky and the air being as bad. I don't know. I hope he doesn't get black lung or he's on the IL now for 2 years with the emphysema or something. But no, it's a good sign that he's throwing. He's not feeling any ill effects from the shoulders and arms. So it's good. I mean, we need good news because every day it seems like somebody's going down and it's just piling up with injuries. So this guy's a key to our success this year. We need him in the stretch run, and hopefully he comes back and gives us a jolt to that staff. I mean, I also got to still give credit to Clark Schmidt and Domingo Germán. They've held us. They've held us.
They've stepped up.
They've kept us afloat basically with all the injuries. But if we get Rodon and Cole back to back and Severino, man, that's a good 1-2-3 punch. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. I hope it's sooner than later.
Yeah, and while talking about Domingo Germán and Clark Smith, they stepped up and they provided us with more than what we expected from them,
Really,
right?
Yeah.
Clark Smith, the last start against the White Sox, 2 mistakes. One of the home runs barely got out. It was the shortest home run hit in Yankee Stadium all season. And the other one was a moonshot. But
Bad
both
pitch,
pitchers, both pitches that were thrown were bad pitches thrown. Just 2 mistakes that Clark Smith had. The rest of the lineup, he was handling them, right?
Yeah.
But it was the catcher both times, 2 home runs. I think he batted 7th or 8th in the lineup. So he tried.
I think he was 9th.
Yeah, he got more relaxed as he was going deeper into the game or deeper into the lineup. But when it comes to Clark Smith, it's always that one mistake that gets you, right? You saw after he gave up the second home run, if you was listening to the game, you heard how upset he was because you loudly heard him curse. But you can't ask much for Domingo Germán or Clark Smith because they're providing you with more than what you can expect. When it comes down to the Aaron Judge situation and us missing Aaron Judge for an extended period of time, I've said it on the last show, our schedule favors us because we only face 2 teams that are over 500. At the time of the last episode, the Mets were at 500. They're 2 games under 500. So the only teams that are over 500 are the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles over the next stretch of games until we get to the All-Star break, right? So when it comes to our schedule, it favors us while Aaron Judge is out. But The flip side to that is we are scrambling to find some offense right now for one reason and one reason only. Brian Cashman decided to come into the season without an everyday major league left fielder. He thought he would be able to tape together a left field combination of Aaron Hicks, Oswald Cabrera, and IKF. One of the three players that I just named is not even on the team anymore, right? Oswald Cabrera was already sent down and called back up because Greg Allen got injured. IKF, he's giving you the best that IKF can give you out in the outfield, right? Not one of those three players should be our starting major league left fielder for the New York Yankees, especially if we are trying to compete for a title. How can you put it in your mind that you're going to compete for a title with that combination in left field? The only reason we us Yankee fans are panicking right now is because Brian Cashman didn't go out there and add a left fielder that can produce for this lineup. What's your thoughts, TC?
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad if everybody else was hitting 300, but when you have a lineup full of 200 hitters, yeah, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb, the left field position. And the defense, too. Some of these guys, they're taking bad routes to the ball, and they're not reading the ball well. They're not outfielders, and it takes time. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if you're a major league player, I mean, I know in Little League I played every position, so I learned every position. These guys seem to not understand the outfield, and I guess it's tough. In the major league level, yeah, these ballparks are different, and the way they play and the walls and everything. But I get it, but just to patch this together, it's so it doesn't make sense for a so-called championship caliber team to be doing this type of stuff. I mean, they put all their money into 4 or 5 players, and then they want to scrap everything else together. It's a scrap heap. It's retreads. We do this every year, and I don't get it when this could have been addressed early in the preseason, in the off season as well. And it just goes to show these guys they don't know baseball better. Cashman thinks he does, and he, it'll be okay. He gives us that. It'll be okay. Everyone else will perform. Guess what? Injuries and 200 hitters, and now you have a glaring hole in left field.
KC, he says it perfectly, and I don't think anybody else can say it more perfect than what KC just said. I'm amazed at the opportunities they give guys that continue to have averages below 200. Back in the day, that wouldn't stand a chance. Absolutely. George would have never gone for the idea of starting the season with a combination of IKF, Cabrera, and Hicks.
Never.
George would have never went for that. Absolutely would have never went for that. If you didn't want to give Andrew Benintendi that 5th year that he wanted, you could have gone out there and got Masataka Yoshida, who the Red Sox got. That would have been our perfect leadoff hitter in this lineup, having Masataka Yoshida hitting in front of Aaron Judge. He is killing it with the Boston Red Sox. And in our lineup, while hitting in front of Aaron Judge, he would have got more fastballs to hit.
Yeah.
It's negligence from the front office. If I hold on, let me get a better word. Not negligence. It is front office malfeasance. There you go. That's a Scrabble word for you. Front office malfeasance. The way that Brian Cashman handled this roster while coming into the season. Yes, you brought back Judge. That's a given. You should have done that. You got us Carlos Rodon. Amazing. I've said this countless times. Our starting pitching and our bullpen wasn't an issue in the postseason. Our starting pitching, we weren't getting blown out 9-0 in the postseason against the Astros. Our issue in the postseason was our offense. No 2-out hitting. No contact hitting. No guys in the lineup that aren't just feast and famine home run guys. That's what we build our roster around. Those are the type. That's the prototypical Yankee lineup. Either home runs or strikeouts.
Yeah.
You need to add a different balance in the lineup. And Brian Cashman, he takes the blame for this. As much credit we give Brian Cashman for Ian Hamilton, for Jimmy Cordero, for Harrison Bader. We give you all the credit that you deserve for finding those perfect key pieces that you plug into the team. But the glaring big issue, not having an everyday major league left fielder, that's what you need to take the blame for, Cashman.
Yeah, it's a team full of bench players, and we can't win with the roster like that. And the construction of the roster is horrible. We've touched on it time and time again. They they need a tear down somewhere because it's just a bunch of infielders, no quality outfielders, no depth on this team. They understand that injuries happen every single year. Stanton, Judge, all the pitching staff, every guy that Cashman has got in the off season, they're all injured. We haven't seen them.
I'm
It's
laughing. I'm laughing at Blue Gold talking about
uh,
Brian Cashman in the chat. I'm not
a
going to bring
closer.
it up,
Yeah, we
but
need a closer.
go. Yeah, but no, we definitely need and that's something
Yeah.
that we need to address at the trade deadline. Getting a closer,
Hmm.
getting a solid reliever
Another. Yeah.
into this bullpen. Our
Right.
bullpen has been the best part of this team. It has carried us.
Yeah.
But we can't let them break. We are
They'll burn
bending
out.
them to a point that they're going to break. We need to get our bullpen some more reinforcements. Now, is that going out there and trading for the closer from Cincinnati? Is that going out there and trading for the Joe Kelly from the Chicago White Sox? I don't know what it is, but whatever reliever we need to add to this bullpen, Brian Cashman has to do it. Because, like I said, we are bending our bullpen to a point that it's going to break.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't keep going the way it's going. Using the bullpen 4 or 5 innings a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking a little bit better lately. Schmidt gave us some length, and Herman. Hopefully, Cole and Severino can do the same as well. But yeah, overusing these guys. Peralta's used every day. Clay Holmes, Marinaccio. It's yeah. And now, we have Canley back, so that does help. It's stretching out, but again, this closer by committee, I don't like it, and it's like left field by committee. Well, you get two positions here up in the air, and this is a World Series caliber team. I don't think so.
Sunil puts in the chat, Hector, tell me your thoughts on this take. Which organization uses the duct tape more recklessly across their organization? The Yankees with their lineup construction or the Oakland A's with their stadium? Yo, Sunil, that's a stretch. That's a hard conversation to have because Oakland A's, they've used more duct tape than I've ever seen. But when it comes to the Yankees, it feels like the Yankees are pasting their lineup together with Scotch tape, with not even duct tape, because duct tape is
No.
strong. They're pasting it with electric tape, the black electric tape that's only used for electrical stuff, not for regular stuff. We know we've all been in that one situation where we needed tape. We didn't have tape and we try to use electric tape because it has the name tape in it. We've all
Yeah.
been in that situation. TC, I know you have.
Yeah. So or the tape that you tape off your ceiling, that
Yeah,
thin
yeah,
that
yeah,
thin
yeah.
tape for the paint. That's the tape that they're using.
My guy Crackle Nuts is in the building. Crackle Nuts
Yeah.
said, "Don't read his tape." LOL.
Okay. We won't.
All right, let's see what else. What else we got in the chat before we switch
Cracking
up
in
the
the chat.
conversation. Let us know in the chat. What do you guys think about the situation with Aaron Judge? How do you guys feel? You heard the doctor earlier talking about best case, worst case scenarios. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you guys think it's going to be a best case scenario of 3 weeks or worst case scenario of about 6 weeks? Like he said, the end of July, maybe. We want to thank all of you for your constant support. It means the world to us. Absolutely appreciate all you guys for subscribing over here at the Morning Brew Sports. We are just getting started. We had a team meeting last night. It went amazingly. We have new shows that are on the rise. Other shows will be coming to the channel. Keep a lookout for that. We are cross-platforming. We are joining forces with other Yankee content creators and other content creators to bring you all the best content in the world. So I want to give a quick shout out to my brother Jigga, and a quick shout out to my other brother Phil Porto as well. We are doing something special here, and you guys are on the ride. TC, I appreciate you like always. But let's switch it up and talk about Oswald Peraza, because that's another kid that needs to be up at the major league level. But it's kind of hard to have the argument for Oswald Peraza when you have Josh Donaldson hitting 3 home runs and 11 at-bats since he has returned from the IL. TC, what do you expect from Josh Donaldson, and do you think this is just a flash in the pan that will fizzle out in the next couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, looking at his track record the last couple of years, it's probably just a phase, just a week, 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe tops. Caught fire with the home runs, but I don't know. He's blocked. Peraza's blocked everywhere. I mean, Glaber's
Mm-hmm.
still here. We got IKF still plays infield. Cabrera. We got Donaldson. We got LeMahieu. It's just a team full of infielders, and honestly, our best players are playing in AAA right now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you consider Oswald Peraza, you got Ben Rortvet, catcher, and you got Estevan Florial. So they don't know better. I mean, they can't say there's no room on this roster for these players
Mm-hmm.
because we have tons of injuries, and they just decide to plug in these fill-in bench player scrubs that have no business. They're not going to be on this team in the
Mm-hmm.
future. So why not give these guys a shot? Peraza has shown you what he can do. He was in the postseason last year. The guy's a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal shortstop. He should be our shortstop. And now with the bat, Shelly Duncan again turned this guy into Barry Bonds in the AAA. He's tearing it up. Nobody can get him out. He's hitting home runs like crazy. I don't know, 7 out of the last 10 games. So I don't know. There's no words to describe the nonsense going on with the Yankees and how they you know platoon these guys or
Mm-hmm.
pick which guy they're going to bring up. We've already brought up the McKinney over Florial. I don't know. It's just head scratcher, and it's too bad for the kid. I feel
Yeah.
bad for him because I don't know what else he can do.
No, no, you definitely got to feel bad for the kid, because he definitely needs an opportunity. With how everything is shaking out right now, I think Gleyber Torres is more tradable now more than ever, especially
Yeah,
compared to last year. I think Gleyber Torres, as much as you have Yankee fans that love what he has done this year, he is the odd man out.
yeah,
He is a free agent in a season or so. We got Peraza on the way up. We still have DJ LeMahieu on the contract. So when you look at our infielders and who is the most tradable one, it's Gleyber Torres. One, he's younger than DJ LeMahieu. Two, he doesn't have a long-term contract. And
right.
three, there's still a little bit of upside to Gleyber Torres when it comes to his potential. So if you were to move Gleyber Torres to a team for a reliever, there's some upsides there for Gleyber Torres on the long term with his new team.
Right.
Right now, if I'm the Yankees, I'm weighing out all the options, right? Because you brought up DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu is struggling, right? DJ
Yeah,
LeMahieu is on the opposite side of 30. I know LI Yankee King wants to trade DJ LeMahieu,
yeah.
but who is going to trade for DJ LeMahieu at this point in his
Nobody.
career? When he's old money, when he's old years, he's on the opposite side of 30. He's not on the good side. He's on the opposite side of 30. And he's coming back from hip surgery and he's coming back from a toe injury that he was dealing
Yeah,
with last year. Who is going to trade for DJ LeMahieu? The only way you get rid of DJ LeMahieu off of this roster is if you give up a prospect
yeah.
to a team so they can eat his contract. And I'm
Right.
not sure if Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner want to give up a valuable prospect in order for somebody to eat DJ LeMahieu's contract.
Yeah, they're not doing that. They're
Yeah,
definitely not going to
he's
trade
not
him.
tradable.
No, no. Yeah, like you said, the only one that has any value right now is Glaber, and we've listened to Hal Steinbrenner talk, and he's has Peraza in there with Volpe and Cabrera as the future of this team.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't hear anything about Glaber. So yeah, he's I think his days are numbered. He'll play the season out, if not get traded at the deadline. Hopefully, we get something back. I mean, we got to get at least a closer or a starting pitcher or something. I mean, we can't just be trading for another has been guy.
No, definitely. Blue Ghost said only a Brian Cashman would trade for DJ. If we could
Yeah,
find another Brian Cashman out there to trade for DJ LeMahieu,
right.
I'm definitely for it.
Yeah,
Unpopular Sports and Gaming is in the building. Unpop, how you doing? Hope all is well. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Hold on one second. Crackle Nuts put it out there. Andujar had a great season because he got a shot. Because he got a shot. Luke Voigt had a good season because he got a shot. Gio Urshela had a good season because he got a shot. But Florio and Peraza, they can't get a shot. That is a great
hmm
point, Crackle Nuts. When
yeah,
Andujar came up, I don't think anybody had it in their mind that Miguel Andujar was going to produce at the major league level in his rookie season. I don't think anybody had it in their mind that Gio or Suller was going to produce the way he produced for us,
I miss
or
that guy.
Luke Voigt was going to produce the way he produced to us, right? Yes, Andujar is not with the team anymore. He's with Pittsburgh. He's fluctuating between the major league and the minor league level. I get that. Also, Gio Urshela has become a journeyman infielder. I get that. Luke Voigt is Luke Voigt. You know, he's with Milwaukee right now. I get that. But at the same time, those three players got an opportunity and they ran with it. All we're not asking for the Yankees to name Estevan Florio the next captain. We're not asking the Yankees to give this kid a 10-year contract worth $2. We're not asking for any of that. All we're asking is give this kid 2 to 3 weeks of 30 at bats that are consistent to see what he can do at this level. If after 30 to 35 at bats, nothing comes of it, cut bait with the guy. It is June 8th right now. You got the trade deadline at the end of July. Right now is the perfect opportunity to give Estevan Florio that opportunity to see if he can stick it. Because if he can't, you can still go into the trade market to see what you could get at the trade deadline. You got 2 months to figure that out. Make it happen.
Yeah, and what does it hurt? I mean, they can't be any worse than the guys that we have are on the team right now, all hitting 200. I mean, it's the 200 team.
And Gio was batting 305 with the
Yeah,
Angels.
yeah. So I mean,
Playing multiple positions. They have him playing third base. They have him playing a little bit of shortstop. He was at second base
yeah,
in a game last week.
you play
They have him
first. Yeah,
playing first base. So
yeah,
Gio is playing all around the infield. You can't tell me that we couldn't use that over here with the Yankees. Come on.
right. Yeah,
Come on, bro.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's the future of your team, Peraza. I don't just you got to see what you have right now. I mean, he's already on the team last year. What I don't. I mean, you want to prolong these guys, these Bowers and Calhoun and IKF. I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Acevedo says, sorry, Hector, he would need more at bats. I agree. He would need more at bats, but the bare minimum, give him 2 to 3 weeks at the bare minimum.
Yeah,
That's all we're asking for. We're
everybody's
not asking
injured.
for
What is
much.
going on? Bring them.
Listen,
It's not like we have a healthy team.
I love what Willie Calhoun has done here with the Yankees. I do love it. Don't get me wrong. Big Bang Willie, I love the name. I love
Yeah,
seeing somebody with a big body like mine's running on the base paths. I do. But I want to see Estevan Florio get an opportunity. Willie Calhoun, what is he hitting? Like below 220?
yeah.
You can't tell me that you wouldn't rather have Esteban Florio, who probably plays a way better defense,
Mhm.
is a lot faster
With
than Willie
speed, yeah.
Calhoun, and has an
Lead off.
arm.
It could be a leadoff hitter. Yeah.
Just think of it like this, TC. The last game we played with the White Sox, we had Jake Bowers in right field, who was a first baseman converted into an outfielder, right?
Hmm.
In center field, we had IKF, who is a converted
Yeah.
infielder to an outfielder. And then we have Willie Calhoun in left field. This is not me coming after Willie Calhoun, but Willie Calhoun, he's not the most athletic outfielder in Major League Baseball whatsoever.
Yeah.
That was our outfield construction against the White Sox.
If you would have told me this opening day, that was our starting outfielder in the mid June, I would say, what are we, 20 games out?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you kidding me? Uh, I don't think any of them play outfield. I mean, they try, but
Since 2019, and this is, an organization issue, right, when it comes to the injuries. But since 2018 to 2019, the New York Yankees, they've had more guys or more players on the IL than anybody else in baseball.
oh, I believe it.
Since
Yeah, easily.
2018, 2019, the Yankees have had more players missing days on the IL than any other team in baseball.
Probably more than double the next person in
They
the
they
second.
they they
Yeah.
they need to figure this out from an organization aspect, right? If you know that your team since 2018, since 2019 has been the leading team in Major League Baseball when it comes to IL stint, when it comes to days missing, why do you set your team up for failure by not bringing in more reinforcement, by not
Yeah.
bringing in an actual left fielder? You shoot yourself in the foot when you go when that's your approach.
And let's get younger. I mean, stop with the older guys. The older guys are getting hurt. I mean, Peraza's what, 23, 24. Florial's probably a little older, 26, 27. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let's get some more athletic and some speed and just the youth movement. You could see the energy that they will bring to prove that their AAA numbers are not flukes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to see guys like that have to prove themselves. These guys that we have now, they just know, oh well, I'll stick around. I'll bat 200. Look at everyone else is batting 200, and I still got a contract. I'm still here. It's sad.
Li Yankee King, he's going through it in the chat right there. Li, just take a
Yeah.
chill pill. Just know that we are
Oh,
all
DJ.
going through this at the same time. Yes, you were right about DJ LeMahieu. Somebody give Li Yankee King a bouquet of roses because he got
Mm,
that right. Yes, Estevan Florio, you may have been right on that one as well. You get another bouquet of roses, but that's about it. That's
yeah,
about it, Li Yankee King.
but he hasn't shown anything yet in the major leagues. So that's the problem. We need to see what he
Yes.
can do in the major leagues. So that's undetermined yet.
Yes, yes. So, guys, if we can, let's just keep it civil in the chat. You know, we are all besties over here. We are all fans of the same team. Hold on. Uncle Tat said, "When are we going to question Doctor Ahmad's diagnosis?" Now,
Mm,
I don't put
that's the
this
Yankee
on
doctor, right?
Dr. Ahmad. I put this more on the training staff with the Yankees
Mm,
because Dr. Ahmad, he sees the players after they get injured, right? He
right.
has no hands when it comes to the work that you have to do to so they don't get injured, right? He doesn't do
Hmm.
any of that work. He sees them and he evaluates them after they get injured. So I don't blame it on Dr. Ahmad. I blame it on the Yankees medical staff. I blame it on them. Ever since the Yankees switched up their medical staff in 2018, 2019, we have seen a constant influx of injuries, injuries, injuries. Shout out my guy, the Italy Jet
Oh
in the
yeah.
chat. Hey, yo, Italy, how you doing, my guy? Hey, Pazon. Hey,
Hey,
Pazano, how
how
you
you
doing,
doing? How
baby?
you
How you doing?
doing?
How you doing? That's my guy, Italy
Yeah,
Jet, one of the hosts of the Jets Evening Brew. If you guys haven't tuned into the Jets
check
Evening
it
Brew,
out.
what are you doing with your life? My brother Jigga and my guy Italy, they kill it over there. They had
Yeah,
one. They had one late night also the other night. It was
yeah,
like at 11:30 at night, a late night, late evening brew.
yeah. Even if you don't like the Jets, I mean, I still tune in. I don't like the Jets, but hey, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Jigga and Italy Jet. Hey, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Sunil says, "Li Yankee King, send me the link to your nearest location of 1-800 Flowers. I'm about to fulfill Hector's bouquet request." That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Guys, though, we are coming up to that time. It is 12:17 right now. If you guys can, please smack that like button and hit the subscribe button as well. We are at 632 subscribers. We are on our
Nice.
way to 1K subs. Let me
Yes,
just
sir.
double check the Yankees news. I'm refreshing my Twitter feed to see if there's any news when it comes to the Yankees postponing the game. As of now,
It still shows it's
oh,
it's
the New
on.
York Yankees, prior to game one of today's doubleheader, the Yankees made the following roster moves. They
Hmm.
have placed left-handed pitcher Nestor Cortez on the 15-day injured list, retroactive to the fifth, with a left rotator cuff strain. They recalled left-handed pitcher Matt Crook from AAA
Oh,
Scranton
what do
Wilkes-Barre.
you
So
know?
Matt Crook is up here with the big team. So we'll probably get to see Matt Crook. It's a doubleheader. You know they like to shuttle guys back and forth from the minors to the majors for the doubleheaders. So we'll probably see Matt Crook tonight. Keep your fingers crossed that we'll see Matt Crook. Nestor Cortez. I'm worried about Nestor Cortez, bro. Let's have the conversation real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah.
He has an inflamed rotator cuff strain. I am very concerned about Nestor Cortez. You know, whenever a pitcher has an injury and it's the rotator cuff, you know it's always a cause for concern. What's your
Hmm.
thoughts on Nestor Cortez before we get out of here?
Yeah, I think this is going to stay with them for the rest of the season. I think they're going to have to shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
You could see as the last couple starts, he can't make it through the fourth, fifth inning, and the guys are tagging him. And he needs to get right. If he needs to get surgery, do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, luckily we have Rodon right around the corner. Uh, yeah, again, another guy down off our staff. I mean, well, we got to make do, and again, we thank Clark Schmidt and Domingo Herman for filling in, and now they're actually part of the rotation. There was no way they can leave. So,
Mm.
but yeah, as far as Nestor, I think it's the innings. He pitched more innings than he has in his career, and
Mhm.
it's catching
He
up to him.
doubled
And
last year. He doubled
yeah,
his innings limits from the year prior from the most. So
yeah,
maybe that broke him down, and the
hmm,
magic of
yeah,
Nestor Cortez is no more. I
right.
agree with you. We may not see Nestor Cortez for the rest of the season. I want to knock
Mm-hmm.
on wood because I don't want to put that in the air, but it may
Mm-hmm.
be reality. TC.
Yeah, yeah, that it probably is. I mean, the the Yankees, they don't tell us everything. So, Nestor might be telling us. I know I saw an interview with him saying it was, a little discomfort, and he wasn't. His arm wasn't healing after the
After
start.
each
Like he
starts,
wasn't
yep.
feel. Yeah, he wasn't feeling it bounce back. So that's not a good sign. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, if they got to shut him down because he's a quality starter that we have. I mean, I,
He
I I
is.
don't I don't count on him as like one of our you know stud playoff as like Rodon, Severino, and Cole. But I mean, he gives you quality starts, and last year he was a good starting pitcher, and yeah, he'll be missed, but get well, and if you got to shut it down, shut it down.
Yeah, and I just want to throw another thing out there. Thank you, Blue Gold, for putting this in the chat. But rest in
Oh,
peace to the Iron Sheik. The Iron
Camel
Sheik passed
Clutch.
away yesterday. I think it was 81 or 83 years old. The Iron Sheik, he lived a long life, longer than most wrestlers out there. When
Yeah.
it comes to the life expectancy of professional wrestlers, especially wrestlers from the Iron Sheik day, they don't live past 65, right? I'm a big time wrestling fan, and I'm an advocate that these guys, they need better conditions when it
Hmm.
comes to, they need to be able to unionize, they need to be able to fight for their healthcare rights and stuff like that. So he
Yeah.
lived a long life. Rest in peace to the Iron Sheik.
It was a good.
Prayers and thoughts to the Iron Sheik's family. If you guys can,
Yeah.
put the prayers chats, prayer emoji in the chat real quick. Last words, TC.
Yeah. Do you remember him tag team with Nikolai Volkov? That was a good tag team. I used to love the old. I don't know if you do you remember
No,
that?
no,
I
no.
mean,
I do not remember
oh
that.
wow,
He was
that goes way back.
yeah, a little bit past my time, but
Yeah,
he
that's
is the
age.
originator of the term jabroni. He is the first person to ever use the
Oh,
term
okay.
jabroni and call people jabroni, and that's where The Rock got it from. The Iron Sheik, he was best friends
Didn't know
and
that.
close. He was close with The Rock's family while The Rock was growing up. If you
Oh,
guys haven't watched that show, The Little Rock or The Rock show of him
Dwayne
as a
Johnson.
kid, the Wayne Johnson show. Make sure
Yeah,
you watch it. You get a lot of insight when it comes to a lot of wrestling knowledge and stuff out there. But
yeah. We
we
gotta have a
appreciate.
wrestling talk one of these days.
Oh
I
yeah,
I miss
definitely.
the
I'm
I
a
miss
big
the
time
old
wrestling
wrestling.
weeb.
Oh
I'm a
yeah,
big time wrestling weeb.
yeah.
But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like always, smack the like button, smack the subscribe button. I love all you Yankee fans. I love the Brew Crew community. You guys have
Yes.
been awesome rocking with us so far. TC, love you, my guy. Last words before we get out of here, bro.
Just to the people in New York, just be safe. Stay indoors if you have to, but if there's a game, be careful, wear a mask, and go Yankees.
Yep. Crackle Nut said, "What do you think about Chris Paul? He's going to go to the Milwaukee Bucks and try to win a championship with Giannis. But like
Okay.
always, peace, salutations, and deuces."